I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot to make one of these. I think it was just because of the Drake and Kendrick beef. Like, I legit forgot all about it. If you've seen the past 3 episodes, you already know what the fuck going on. After Kendrick Lamar's great victory over Drake in this whole beef battle, I will say that for the past month, I haven't been listening to much of anything but Kendrick Lamar for the most part, outside of the other songs that I'm gonna be talking about, and outside of honestly just all like the diss tracks that kind of came out this month. The one Kendrick Lamar song I will say that I did go back and visit the most, and I forgot how much I fucking love this track, is The Black of the Berry. I kind of mentioned this in Euphoria of how that song is just, it's fueled by so much anger, but I forgot that this song is also fueled by so much anger. Obviously, with the subject matter of the entire album, of To Pimp a Butterfly, and the subject matter also of the song, it's very clear that this motherfucker's angry. I think what sells it though, and I mentioned this on Euphoria, is the delivery and the production as well. Those drums, like, it makes it feel as though you're about to go to war. And one thing about this song that I think makes this just not just one of my favorite songs off To Pimp a Butterfly, but probably in my top 10 favorite Kendrick Lamar songs of all time, is just the fact of how not only is he like so fucking angry, and not just does the music present it as well, it's also how which with each verse and each chorus hitting, you constantly feel like that anger is consistently building up. And then my favorite part about the song is at the very end, when it's all this anger built up and then all of a sudden it's released into like this calm instrumental that's just it makes it feel even more eerie with just such a calm instrumental after having these drums just hitting you in the fucking chest and all this anger being built up, that is just boom, it's just a calm beat just laid throughout the rest of the track. That's my favorite part of the whole song. And speaking of Kendrick Lamar, the next song I also have on here is All Day by Kanye West. And the reason why I mentioned Kendrick Lamar is just because of the fact that he does actually have writing credits on this song, which actually listening to the song after finding that out, you can kind of hear the lyrics and be like, oh, I could hear Kendrick Lamar saying that, which I know there is a version of this song out there that is like not official, and it has like a Kendrick Lamar verse on there. I haven't heard that yet, so I don't know if like that verse that he spits on that end is like the same that Kanye spits here. But also the instrumental. This is one of my favorite Kanye West instrumentals. I'm a sucker for bass and drums, and when that shit just knocks you in the face, like I love that shit. I feel like one problem that I do kind of have with the song is that everybody kind of feels like they take, like, everyone who's featured on the song feels like they kind of just take a back seat to Kanye West. Even Paul McCartney. I couldn't even tell you what part Paul McCartney comes in when I listen to All Day. And actually, going back to the lyrics by Kendrick Lamar, there's one portion of the song, I think it's in the second verse, where I think there's also like a subliminal Drake diss in there. So, you know, for those of you who are still hooked on that fucking beef that happened like 50 years ago. Speaking of Drake, I do want to talk about another song, one that he was featured on, which is the song Parade on Cleveland by Young Thug. Business is Business is probably one of the most underrated albums to come out of, was it last year? Yeah, last year. It was one of the most underrated albums to come out last year. But yeah, Parade on Cleveland, I think, is a great intro to the album. I know on Metro's version of Business is Business, It doesn't have Parade on Cleveland as the intro, but I really like Drake's contribution in the first half of the song. The second half of the song just cuts to a Young Thug verse, and in the middle there's that portion where it's like the phone call taking place, which actually brings me to the reason why I kind of went back and I started listening to this song a lot more recently. I saw a video on Instagram, I believe, and this guy had isolated the Young Thug vocals and talked about how when it was recorded, it was actually recorded over the phone, which shocked me, because listening to that song and listening to Young Thug's verse, I never would have thought that man recorded that verse while he was in jail. Like even like listening to it now, like it really doesn't sound like he's in jail, or it doesn't sound like it's over the phone. But I think if you listen really deep and hard enough, you can kind of hear it. Like it just feels like a verse that he just recorded in the studio. The next song I kind of want to talk about is For Me by Loe Shimmy. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this one brief. I don't know, I kind of just like this song just for the simplicity of it. You know, the hook, very simplistic, and then on top of that, the beat too is very simplistic in its own way as well. And then I guess going on to like the newer kind of songs that came out this month, obviously we got to get into the big one, the one that you figured I'd be talking about. Ada Vista by Childish Gambino was released, the finished version of 3:15:20. To no surprise at all, I actually do prefer this version over 3:15:20. Some of you may know Childish Gambino is my favorite artist of all time. This album, this version of the album, I'll say, made me have a bigger appreciation for the project as a whole. For one, I'll say like the production is the key one, and then not that it's that different, but it's also the mixing and the mastering of the album as a whole, especially in the production as well. It made me appreciate a lot of the songs off the album a lot more. For example, To Be Hunted, that was a song when I heard it on 3:15:20, I was like, it's all right. I could vibe to it. But then I hear that shit on this album, and it's like it's one of the catchiest songs I think I've ever heard. I will say that like Summer Walker's portion on Sweet Thing, that I think that also made me appreciate that song a lot more. While I still feel like I think it's like the 7 minutes of that runtime doesn't feel that justified. It feels more justified than it did beforehand, just the fact that you have some sort of break in the overall performance, and that you have Summer Walker coming in instead of Gambino for that portion of the song. And then Young Nudy's portion on Lil Foot Bigfoot, I really liked Lil Foot Bigfoot to begin with. So having Young Nudy on there, it was just that cherry on top. But obviously, for every Gambino fan out there, you know what song I'm going to be talking about. It's a song that we've waited fucking years for. Human Sacrifice was finally released. I did hear the song back when it did leak. I was kind of just set on the fact that like we're never going to get the song. When I heard it in its unfinished state back when it leaked, it didn't really bounce the way I wanted it to. I don't know if that's the right way of putting it, but definitely in its finished version, I could definitely feel that. A lot of the vocal performances on the song was kind of altered a bit with the finished version of the song, and on top of that too, the production, it feels like it actually hits this time around. I'm excited to see him also perform it when he comes to Florida. So, and now I know going further, he is set to be dropping what's the fucking album called? Bando Stone in the New World sometime soon. I don't know when, but I'm definitely excited for that. I'm excited to see who's gonna be on it outside of some of the people that I've heard that are going to be on the album. The next song I kind of want to go into is Clear the Smoke by Quavo, which I did also re-listen to Culture this past month. And then shortly after this song was released, I went to listen to it, and I will say Quavo's performance shockingly reminded me of that time period. Back in 2016, 2017, I'll even say a little bit of 2018, even though Culture 2 is just like, it's like a 2-pack of ass. Quavo's performance on Clear the Smoke, it reminded me a lot of like his hooks and just his overall flow and performance that he had on like that time period back in like back in 2016, 2017, which I haven't been that big a fan of when the Migos like have done their solo stuff. So like I mean, there are exceptions, I'll say. So like I enjoyed a little bit of Takeoff's album, and I enjoyed Offset's newest album quite a bit. But yeah, this is actually just one of those rare cases. Oh yeah, and I fucking forgot, Gunna released an album. If you've seen Anthony Fantano's review for the album, I'm not gonna lie to you, I related to that review a lot because yeah, I was fucking slumped throughout that whole album. Like after track 5, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't listen to this shit no more. I can't listen to that shit no more. Neck on a Yacht is a good song though. Don Toliver released his new song Attitude with Cash Cobain and Charlie Wilson. And I haven't heard all the singles that he's released for his upcoming album. I heard Bandit, which I like the Tame Impala sample. But I think this one is definitely my favorite out of the bunch. This whole new type of sound that Cash Cobain has kind of introduced to rap, I've actually been enjoying it. Outside of that song he has with J. Cole, that's a 2-pack of that. But no, I've actually appreciated the vibe that Cash Cobain's kind of brought. I will say though, I think Charlie Wilson's portion I could kind of do without. Not to say that I think Charlie Wilson's bad on the song, but I can kind of do without it. It's just a very chill kind of vibe to it. That's really it. I'm gonna keep this one also pretty brief. Bandman by Rich the Kid. Never did I think a modern day Rich the Kid song would ever make one of these videos. It's a short song. It's really short. It's like less than 2 minutes, and I mainly just kind of like the song for its instrumental. It kind of reminds me of Kanye West's New Slaves, in the sense of how, not the second portion of New Slaves, but like of how like each note feels wrong, but it feels right at the same time, which I don't know what way to put it, but like that's just what it reminds me of. But yeah, for this being like the first Rich the Kid song that I've liked since New Freezer, that's saying a lot. To wrap it all up, actually today Denzel Curry released a new song with A$AP Ferg and I forgot who else, with the song Hot One, which I also heard that Denzel Curry is going to be dropping a new album at sometime soon, which I'm assuming this is a single for the album, which if so, this is a fire fucking single. Like I actually really like this song. It has like almost like a dark kind of vibe to it that I like from Denzel Curry's production, but it also has like a lot of that record scratching and a lot of kind of like the underground feel to it, which I really love. I don't hear too much of A$AP Ferg anymore, but like A$AP Ferg, I really liked him on this song. I like how I believe it was throughout the majority of the song where like you can kind of hear his vocals a little bit, where he's almost like humming a little bit, almost as if he's like part of the instrumental as well. And honestly, all I'm just really looking for with this new Denzel Curry album is just good vibes. That's really it. You know, I don't need all that sad shit that he did on Taboo, outside of the fact that there's like, you know, some There's some fire songs on there. And I don't need all that sad shit that's on Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, even though there's some fire songs off Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. Also, I mean, I don't really know what it is, but, like, I don't want a lot of artists to go, like, crazy with, like, with whatever they're planning on, whatever kind of sound that they're making. I just want a victory lap kind of album from, like, a lot of artists this year. Like Denzel Curry, I just want a victory lap kind of album. If Kendrick Lamar is dropping a new album, which part of me thinks that he is, but part of me thinks that he's not, I kind of just want a victory lap kind of album from Kendrick Lamar. Same with Childish Gambino. I just want a victory lap kind of album. Maybe not The Weeknd. I want him to be serious on that one. Who else? Who the fuck else is dropping? I totally fucking forgot who's dropping. Oh, fuck. Baby Keem's dropping. And then I know Eminem's dropping, but I don't want a victory lap album from Eminem. I want something new, because that Houdini song was...
That shit is a 2-pack of ass.
Trying to watch TV. You're being incredibly loud.
You just like my volume? Or,
Yeah, volume. That's what loud means, doesn't it?
Yeah, I have the door closed.
We're on the couch on the other side of this paper-thin wall. We're trying to watch a nice romantic movie, and all we're hearing is Grippy.